It was alright, but I was dying too much.
I stopped by here and there. I don't like watch or like I'll say some stuff.
There we go. Stream's back up. Alright, let's get into the session. Sorry. Let's go.
It's been 10 minutes already.
Yeah, don't worry. That won't be counted. We'll just play for a full hour. Alright, let's go into some realistics. Was that weeks? Was that week? So, alright, I have an idea what we're gonna be doing, or what I'm gonna be doing to test you a little bit. Just fight like you'd normally fight. Noti gang.
Does one of us have to switch names?
Nope.
No? I'm not used to fighting at Storm.
It's all good. What's that, TV? Nice. Let's go again. Oh. I gotta get used to playing on this ping again. It's been a while. God. My bad. I gotta get used to this ping for a sec.
Yeah, that was storm fire.
We're getting so many. It's 3 out of the 4 right now.
I'm too smart to storm fire. Come on, I don't want to do this.
What's up, Paris? We're gonna do a couple, and hopefully less storm fights. And then I'll talk a bit more. So I need to be able to...
Storm fights now.
These fights are very similar every time.
My wall didn't reset.
Cool. Like another storm fight, my god. Oh my god. Alright. So far, obviously, I feel like you're mainly on the offense, so it's hard to judge the defense. It's mainly my bad for not applying enough pressure on you. Kind of having trouble with the ping, so I'm playing pretty safe. But we'll do some more. Right. Oh,
I kind of know this map. That's why I went down here.
oh my god, I messed that up. Oh my god, you should not have won that trade. Oh my god. Ha!
I have no maps.
Neither.
I tried to put
GG's.
a wall. I just figured out your pattern of what to drop down. That's why I thought.
How'd you get there? What the hell?
Shockwave.
Oh, you also got shotgun. Didn't know that. Yep.
No, it's
That almost happened to me. Something that I've definitely noticed about your offense, or about your actually it's kind of both. It's mainly when you switch from defense to offense, where you kind of edit out of your box without knowing exactly where I am. And that kind of will get you to take damage more often than you'd like. I'll show you next time it happens. Yeah, double-edged sword, boogie bums. Alright, cool. Yeah, so the funny thing is we're mainly going to be talking about defense, but so far, it's kind of a defense and offensive thing. So when you switch, right, you will edit out of your box to build a ramp to look up. Like, you do this quite often, actually, and then I can be on top of you out of nowhere, just because you do this without knowing exactly where I am. So I recommend doing this when you know that I'm at a specific wall, for example, so that you can edit at the back or something. But if you're not entirely sure where I am, don't edit out of your box to go looking up, basically, because that... Do you know what I mean, or do I have to show? Yeah, well, it's not even... Usually it's not... Yeah, don't fight for a sec. Oh, wait. Are you not in the map? Come back? Was that Trajan? Welcome back, classy. Right, so for this next fight, don't fight yet. I just want to show you something first. So, yeah, so basically you'll be boxed up. Basically, usually with multiple boxes, actually, like this. And then you'll do that, and then you'll do this, basically, where you either, you'll try to go for a shot, generally. Or you're trying to build up, so you do something like that, whatever.
That's, like, when I look, that's me trying to pre-fire, because I'm just, like, thinking that that's what you want.
Yeah, generally try not to do this unless you know exactly where I am, because if I'm... for example, if I'm on top and you do this while I'm on top, and right as I jump down, then you end up kind of on top of each other. So it's definitely something you should take note of. So switching from defense to offense, I feel like that's currently, at least where your defense is mainly kind of the worst. As well as sometimes I feel like you should be going for height when you don't. So for example, if you either get a nice shot off, something like that, or if you just know for a fact that I'm low ground, or like if I'm on your wall or something, and I'll switch or something, and then I feel like more often you should try to go for high ground to gain control, because you kind of go into defense mode where you're just defensive forever, and when you go for like an aggressive thing, you usually go for a shot instead of going for a retake. There's another thing.
With like defensive, you said take wall, I don't 100% know what you mean.
Say again?
When you said like when I'm defensive, like I don't know what you mean by like you're trying to take my wall or something.
Okay, so so when you're defensive, you're basically boxed up like this, right? And then what I mean is if I'm coming for your wall or something like that, so if I'm over here and I'm going for your wall, then you know exactly where I am. So then it's a little bit easier to make decisions without like unpredictable consequences where you're not really sure what's going to happen. But if you know exactly where I am, then there's a lot less of that, where you know what's going to happen if you go for a retake. Either... That's how I do that once, actually. It's pretty good. I say it works a little bit better when you go expand into an extra... into an extra box. So for example, if you go defense mode, you do that, and then you expand into an extra box, and then you go for it, because then you have a little bit extra piece of protection, right? Because you can reset this wall. Alright, we can fight. I'll start here. Yeah, so Wawa. Alright, ready?
Yeah.
Nice, good unpredictability. Good.
Do I have good aim for a keyboard player?
Definitely. I'm dead! Ah, I know maths! Feels bad.
I had one build.
I wasn't paying attention to my materials. So just fell down. Whoopsie daisy.
When I'm aggressive, like, I just lose meds quickly because I'm not, like, paying attention.
So like right there, that could have been a decent moment to go for high ground. Oops.
You alright?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I didn't even know you were there. I just saw new box, so.
The hell? I'm so confused.
What are you like the other side?
I'm standing still, hard scoped. So confused the entire time. Don't know where you are. Oh, I just heard you. Stop it! Stop running. Don't have infinite time. Stop running. My god. Jeez.
You're running.
I wasn't running. I was the one pushing you every time. What you talking about?
I just started running. Then I started farming.
Alright.
Pretty good. Controller, yeah, it was just no.
That was not the play.
I thought I was gonna win because of that.
I almost choked too because of the tree. I couldn't see.
I thought I got adjusted. I thought I was gonna win because I had that. wait, I didn't reset that.
Second.
I didn't reset that wall. I couldn't tell if it was true. You gonna hit the tree? How about hit the tree?
Someone's got fishies.
Low on max.
Let me think. Alright, I want you to play really defensive, okay? So Raymond.
What?
Oh, sorry. It's kind of hard to judge your defense. I think something that you could take note of. Hold up, don't fight yet. Come here. Is that when you take a lot of damage, you basically have two options, right? You can either play defensive or offensive. But
I prefer Max a lot more playing defensive than aggressive.
which makes, I mean, I feel like that makes sense because when you're playing defensive, you're constantly boxing up, you know. So that's not a big deal. Something that you could take note of though is basically applying more pressure when you take damage. And that sounds counterintuitive, but the reason I say that is because it gives you more time to kind of like to breathe. For example, like imagine I hit you for 100 and I crack you, and then you box up and you heal. You've basically given me in that scenario like no reason to stop pushing or like to stop playing offensive. So and you're basically, especially if you fight against a good player, you're not gonna have too much time to heal up. But actually, a thing that is even more interesting is that when someone cracks you, they turn a lot less careful. So that's usually the best time to deal damage as well, after you've taken damage. Obviously, you want to be careful with it because you don't want to just die. But I wouldn't be too. You can be a little bit less careful sometimes when it comes to playing defensive. So going for a shot more often. So especially after you take damage. So for example, this happened earlier actually, but I can't really show that example. But if, for example, let me think of an example.
You need meds or?
No, I was thinking of an example to kind of visualize it. And the point is basically that if you need to heal, usually you're gonna have to deal damage first before healing. Actually, that's not true. Not usually, but you should usually try it because when you do deal damage, it gives you a lot more time to like heal and then play offensive after that again, which will actually make you burn less mats as well. Because right now, you are basically running a lot of the time, right? When you're playing defensive, you're constantly tunneling, bossing up, and then I was like, oh, you're on my wall. Oh, I gotta do that, which definitely burns through a lot of materials. So I think something that you could try to implement would be to find those moments where after you take damage, you can deal damage as well, just so you can make the other person back off, so you can both heal up. Or
I put some meds.
yeah, it's all good. Does that make sense? I think it's hard to explain. But
Try boss fights
let's do some more of this. But I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna say pause sometimes in fights.
Pause.
Yeah, and then we'll pause the fight, and I'll kind of show what just happened.
You wanna try boss fights after this? Or
Maybe. Does it works? All right.
go or?
Yeah.
You want me to put up fence or?
Just do whatever you want.
What'd you? That wouldn't work because you're lower range.
I'm definitely struggling a bit. I hate playing on high ping.
Everything's yours.
I had the same problem.
What
feel like everything is yours.
I only ran into your boat.
Both run out of mats.
Did we try box fight?
Yep, let's do it. I think though, I've noticed something else is that you tend to expand a lot, and like expanding is good. Like don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's okay to stay in a single box for just a little bit longer, or not a single box per se, but like your builds. So if it's 2 boxes, that's fine, but you don't have to expand constantly. Because you tend to expand the moment I start shooting at your wall, for example, which is not necessary.
High ping-ish. I'm like 20 ping, so I'm used to my walls getting taken all the time.
Trust me, 20 ping is not high. 20 ping is very low.
I'm used to people taking my walls all the time, so
There's other ways that you can make sure that that you can kind of counter that without having to expand all the time. You can also, like, obviously you don't want to be in a single box, but if you have any shape, way, or form to back off, if someone does take your wall, then that's fine. You don't need to keep running, basically. I mean, I'm playing on 100 ping right now, and it's not very different for me.
I'm on team 2. I'm on team 2.
Oh, my bad.
I'll switch back.
Okay. See right there, for example, you did a lot of damage to me, but instead of backing off, I actually like apply pressure, and that gives me time to heal right now. This was a perfect example of what I meant.
The controller movement.
But did that example from earlier, does that make sense? Biggs?
Example from earlier.
Like right there, where you basically dealt 100 damage to me, but instead of trying to heal, I dealt damage back to you.
Yeah. No.
Jeez.
session over.
Something else I'm noticing is that, especially in the box fights, you tend to kind of get too close to my wall. Like you should use your weapon more to.
Isn't the session over?
It's okay. You don't have to be exactly strict on time.
You're fast.
Now I'm just waiting for you to edit. I can see you're holding it. Very good. That's exactly what I was talking about. Where you see how we both take damage, but instead of like just healing, you can also apply pressure. Like it's good to have that option. Trying to hold the ramp. Missed it. Alright, good stuff. We'll do 2 more fights, yeah? Good effort though on the trying to deal damage again. That was a good try. You see how I did it there again? My god, you should have been dead. I thought you were dead. That was crazy. GG's. No ammo.
So, like, could you, draw everything in writer and report card what I could do that?
Yes, sir. I will.
How'd I do, like,
I don't usually judge that way, but I feel like your piece control is definitely pretty decent. Your aim is also pretty decent. I think it's mainly the switching between defense and offense, both switching from defense to offense as well as from offense to defense. That is the main, at least what I could notice would be the main thing you could work on. Something as well that we haven't talked too much about would be, because like in this box fight you did way better with that, with like it trying to deal damage after taking damage as well. But we can also do in actual fights would be to take height, for example, like go for high ground retake a little bit more often, because you usually just tunnel because you expand, which is pretty decent. But I'd say you can try to go for height more often, and try to only do that if you know where I am, or at least where.
I started like doing the thing you told me, like with the RAM.
I don't remember.
When I should go out at next to your box if I'm trying to shoot you with the ramp covering me.
You mean like like behind that you block your back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that. You do that. I mean, you do that perfectly. There's nothing there. I feel like that needs to be better. That's good.
Jez.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way I could contact you that I'll have a higher chance of you getting the reply? So
Let me think.
if I want a session next week to see how I progressed.
You can probably you can just message me on ProGuides. I'll make sure to respond. Generally on ProGuides, I feel like I respond. No, that's true. But as I said earlier as well, with the stream schedule, I'm gonna try to be on every day, or basically every day around this time.
Did I swear? I tried not to swear.
No, yeah, you can swear.
I don't think I swear once. So.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So you're good. But yeah, man, we can definitely schedule one for next week around this time if you want.
next Friday?
I'm not sure about that yet. Actually, no, next Friday wouldn't be possible. If you message me on ProGuides, I'll make sure to respond, even when I'm not online.
Saturday, Sunday, maybe.
Next weekend's gonna be rough, but like during the week itself, like maybe like either Wednesday or Thursday. Actually, yeah, Wednesday around this time might be possible, and otherwise maybe Thursday or Tuesday. Just probably a weekday. Weekend's gonna be rough. We can stay in contact. You can message me on ProGuides. I'll respond. All right. Do you have any maybe
I
like?
need to like stop trying to like when I don't know where you are. Like I should stop trying to pre-fire.
Yes, I'd say if you don't know where I am, you should play it more safe.
So don't leave the box.
Either don't leave the box, or if you sometimes you might have a general idea of where I am, and then you can kind of have a general. You can build out in a way where you're sure that I won't be able to hit you. Like for example, if you know that if you know that I'm in front of you somewhere, but you don't know exactly where, then usually it's okay to edit out the back and go for a high ground from the back. But that's kind of kind of depends per fight, but generally that's okay. The main problem is when I'm really close to you. So like if I'm around your box and I'm like pickaxe distance away from your box, and then you edit out.
Sometimes like I didn't hear you like moving, so I was confused.
That's usually when I jump. So when I jump, you don't have sound.
So I didn't hear you moving sometimes, so I just tried to pre-fire.
Yeah, I'd recommend to just you can also learn to get into your cone mid fight. That's also surprisingly useful. That like almost nobody does it, but it's really good. Especially if you're using brick or metal, obviously. But even in wood sometimes, just because people really don't expect it, because almost nobody does it. It's a neat little trick that you can do.
Like, how far am I off from being like good at fights?
Well, it depends on your own metric. Like I don't. It depends on compared to what. Like for me, I don't feel like I'm particularly good in fights myself, but I'm a lot better than like most players. So it just depends on who you compare yourself to. Like if I would fight Mongo, for example, I'd get clapped. But if I fought,
I feel like
95% of the players, I'd beat them.
I feel like I'm better than most people, but like I'm trying to reach like Benji's fighting level.
You're definitely way above average.
I'm trying to reach Benji's fighting level.
Yeah, it's hard for me to gauge, but I think something that you could work on a bit more if you want to. You can maybe watch more like who can I think of? Because your piece control is pretty decent, but the majority of it is kind of basic piece control moves, but you are able to do them quickly, so that's good. But there's also some more advanced kind of like piece control moves, like using building walls really high up, for example, in a build fight, to use those walls later, to maybe edit like through there and build a cone and stuff like that.
I try to avoid build fights as much as possible.
I'd say that's completely fine, except sometimes you are going to have to kind of fight for high ground occasionally. Just because otherwise, like the personal high ground, even though it's not as important as it was like, season or chapter 1, or maybe even the first half of chapter 1, it's still important to be able to take height or something around those lines where you don't need a crazy retake or anything, but you just need to know when you can go for high ground and actually take it. But that usually doesn't turn into a build fight, because generally people will box up, so it's not really a build fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll write it all down on the report card to summarize. Do you have a pro guides? Oh no, you already cancelled, or you already finished it? Chilling. then I'm going to say goodbye, and then I'll fill out your report card real quick. Alright, talk to you later. Alright. Chat, I'm going to... What's up, Omar? I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to end the stream. Sorry for not being as active with chat near the end or when I was coaching, just because I feel like it's kind of rude to talk to chat all the time if I'm mid-session. I am... Let me think. I'll be streaming tomorrow again? Yes, sir, that's true. That's not true, actually, my bad. I am playing DreamHack, I think, so I won't be streaming tomorrow. Forgot. I told someone earlier that I was, but I'm not streaming. Except maybe, like... Nah, I'm not streaming. There's 2 heats. It's gonna take a while, unless I qualify in the first heat. Alright, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys, well, Monday then. Alright.